call Kurt Toll, is one of our elders up, and we're going to have a special recognition, and Kurt is going to take care of that. So would you welcome Kurt?
Oh, don't do that. You're not going to clap for me today, okay? I have the great privilege of recognizing one of our staff today, and I'm very excited to do this today. And I want to call Paul and Kara Martin up here today, and I'm gonna tell what is a very long story and try to make it a very short story. Just come on over here, guys, because we are gonna celebrate and honor and thank Paul and Kara for 30 years of service here at our church, and I want. I want to tell you, I met Paul in the summer of 1993. He was a graduated senior, and I was taking a group of students to a CIY conference, and Paul was in the church in Countryside, and Dusty was the youth minister there. And so we took the old blue bus and went down to Pittsburgh and picked up their youth group. And I remember Paul getting on the bus and taking the time to shake my hand and introduce himself to me. And I thought, that's interesting. And I got to know Paul that week, and I soon recognized that he was a very mature Christian young man, and he made an impression on me. Let's fast forward a couple of years. The spring of 1995, we were looking to hire someone to help with the children's ministry here at the church. Paul immediately popped into my head, and in May of 95, we hired Paul as a summer intern. Well, Paul did such a great job that in the fall, in September, we decided we wanted to hire him on part-time while he was finishing school and be our children's minister here. Paul did something pretty incredible in September also. He chose to marry Kara, and not only did he get a partner for life, but he got a partner in ministry. And they've been here ever since. And for those of you who need help with math, that's 30 years of doing children's ministry. And, you know, I know people in ministry, and I have connections in a lot of churches, and we don't see this. Paul and I talked about this the other day. You don't see 30 years in children's ministry. I don't know of any other place. And so this is truly amazing. I want to kind of give you an idea of what this looks like. My children grew up in Paul's children's ministry. Paul and Kara helped lead my children to Jesus. They were baptized right over there. So we're going to jump a lot of years now till this past summer. And this is just the cool part to me. My granddaughter, Naomi, was baptized at our pool, and Paul and Kara were there, and Kara got in the water with my daughter Anna and baptized my granddaughter. That's generational impact in this church. And I know there are some others here. Bree Eden is here. Alyssa Glades is here. They are my kids' age. And so they were part of that first group. And just a little side note, I talked to Devin yesterday, my son, and he said, "Did you know that we made it really hard on Paul? We weren't sure about him at first. but he won us over real quick." So they've been doing this for a very long time and doing it very well. I just want to tell you one thing about Paul that I really admire and I appreciate. Paul is an incredible teacher of the Bible to children. Here's how I'll illustrate that. This past summer, before Naomi was actually baptized, we were at Anna and Jong's house, and we were, okay, I'll admit it. Grandpa thought he had to sit down and talk to Naomi about being baptized. And so we were having a conversation, and we talked about how she'd been through Paul's Decision for Christ class. And we were having this conversation, and all of a sudden Naomi and Josiah had started having this conversation about heaven and hell. And they were saying really good things. And I was just shocked. And so we kind of finished that conversation, and the kids went to play hide and seek with Grandma, and Anna was sitting there, and I just looked at her and I said, Anna, you've done such a great job of teaching your children the Bible. And she gave me this little shrug and look, and she said, that's Paul Martin. And it is. You've done such a great job. So right now, would you please, with me, honor and thank Paul and Kara Martin for 30 years of ministry at Community Christian Church. The church board is giving Paul and Kara a gift so that they can go on a trip that they've wanted to go on for quite a while, and that'll be happening in the near future. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
My name is Christian Paronto, and my call sign was Tonto. And I was with the 2nd Battalion, 75th Ranger Regiment. I was in Bravo Company.
Name's John Tigan, former Marine. Did 4 years with the 3rd Battalion, 7th Marines.
My name's Mark Geist. My call sign's Oz. I was in the Marine Corps for 12 years. I was in Benghazi for about 30 days when the attack happened that night.
Everybody, this is Jack Silva. Jack. It's our 3rd contract together, so he knows the drill.
We had a DB, former Marine, Jack, who was a SEAL, and then Roan, he was a SEAL. It was a good crew. 13 hours just tells the minute-by-minute story of what happened that night. Try to get what we all did and what we went through.
We as a team decided that the story that wasn't being told out there was what actually happened that night, and so we felt compelled to make sure the story gets out there the right way. It's not about the politics, it's the story of what happened on the ground.
GRS stands for Global Response Services. We're mainly used in high-threat areas.
We are the security element for the Central Intelligence Agency, and we just provide protection in austere environments.
Hey, we're coming in. We're on property. Is Kris inside? Is he still inside? Get down!
All of us were former military, Spec Ops guys or Marines. You're working with some of the top guys in their respective services.
13 hours was how long we were in the fight that night.
The state guys, we just heard them on the radio say, hey, if you guys don't get over here, we're all gonna die. And we just kind of looked at each other and said, we gotta go now.
None of you have to go. But we are the only help they have.
Americans help Americans overseas, especially in areas where there wasn't any military support.
We had to go, no matter what. Damn the consequences.
Got some wind. Here we go. Roll.
Our director is Michael Bay. He's been very respectful to us, and he's taken this seriously, and he's got us involved.
Michael has that vision of what he wants, and he's doing it in a way so it's as accurate as possible.
Ready and go. You won't touch.
My teammates did so many amazing things, and it's a story of the battle. It's a story of a lot of sacrifice that went on. It shows that there's still guys out there that are willing to sacrifice their lives for others. You know, they put others before themselves.
Very good. Got it. Beautiful.
Well, I finally meet a lot of y'all. Y'all probably seen me a little bit ever in Walmart and have a, yeah, seen the movie. You probably looked at me and said, thought I'd be bigger, right? Yeah. The guy who plays me in the movie, Pablo Schreiber, who plays in 13 Hours, is a monster. He's 6'5", 240 pounds. I'm 5'9", 160 pounds, dripping wet. but I'm a heck of a lot better looking. You got to admit, I am, right? Anyway, guys, I don't have a ton of time up here. You know, about 30 minutes, 35 minutes. If you have to go, that's fine. I completely understand. I've been talking and speaking, and I'm not a professional speaker. I'm not. I just get up here and tell a story. But I have been talking and speaking at corporate events and a lot of motivational speaking. Just got back from Phoenix just a few days ago. Spoke in Boston a couple of days before that. And what I'm trying to say is that I just tell a story. I want you just to hopefully get something out of it. It is a faith-based story. That's what I think anybody that's seen combat really believes, because God is there. God's in combat, promise you. But the devil's there too. We've seen both. And those in the audience and those veterans, we're so close to Veterans Day again, and thank you for your service. I know my buddy Brett's in here somewhere. Where's your ugly mug? I miss that huge head. Can you see around? Oh, look, and Scott is right behind you. Can you see around his head? Put him in. No. You've seen a lot of, we've seen some stuff, but that makes us either reaffirm our faith or we lose it. You can go one of two ways, and it went the right way for me. But anyway, I'm going to get into this a little bit. Got 30, 35 minutes. You need to leave. That's perfectly fine. I get it. It's not a big deal. Just a little bit of my background. Guys, my grandfather was a picker. He came up from Mexico. I'm Mexican, believe it or not. The Southern drawl, my daddy is from Spur, Texas. I get it from my dad being from West Texas, and spending the majority of my military career when I was with the Rangers at Fort Benning, Georgia. A lot of Southern draws down there. But when we were growing up, we didn't have a lot. Very, very poor. Very poor. But we never complained. I never saw my grandfather, my abuelo, or my abuela complain at all, ever. Just hard work, hard work. Have faith and hard work. I remember my grandmother, and she probably was the alpha, honestly, of the family. If you've ever been around Latinas, they are the alphas. There's no doubt about it. They're the ones that run the family. But my grandmother would always say, "Hijo, did you work hard enough?" I got hijo, usually got hijo. Sometimes I got mijo, which means my son. That's like a term of endearment. Hijo is kind of endearing, and then I get pendejo if I really messed up. That means I did get that a lot more, probably anything else. But she would always say, "Hijo, did you work hard enough?" And what she was saying is that if I came home complaining because I didn't get a grade I wanted, or didn't make the team I wanted, or something went wrong, it was, it's not their fault. You didn't work hard enough. And I was raised that way. So going through the military, going to college and doing all that, I just busted my butt. I played football in college at a school called Mesa College. We actually used to play Pittsburgh. We played them in the playoffs one year. Really good team. We were really good. That was the only way I could get through college was with a football scholarship, and then went in the military. And I served with the Ranger Regiment and 19 Special Forces Group. And it was tough, man. Being a Ranger is tough. Ranger school is no joke. You're not sleeping, you're not eating, you're freezing, they're teaching you adversity, how to deal with it. But it's good. You need to be prepped for it. When I went in the military in the 90s, a lot of you guys that did go in the early days, they threw us around a lot. They did. First day in basic training at Fort Benning, Georgia, a drill sergeant came across the desk and nailed this kid across. It was his fault. He was smart enough. He was. He deserved it. But my eyes went big, and all I was thinking to myself is I thought they didn't do this full metal jacket stuff anymore. But it needed it. Because when you see death in front of you, you have to fight through it to continue to fight and win. That little adversity that you deal with somebody being mean to you, it's not a big deal. Well, military, went through the military, was a Ranger. First time I was in, I'm not going to get into it too much because I just don't have a lot of time, but I was actually discharged early from the military for doing something very, very stupid. I made a mistake. I did get an honorable discharge, shouldn't have, but my entry code wasn't going to allow me to come back in very easily. I got thrown out. A lot of people don't know that. And I went home, tail between my legs, and being humbled, and fought my way back in. 2 years later, got my master's degree. I've never used it for anything, but at least I can put MS on a card. And I went back in the military. Because did you work hard enough, hijo, grandmother? Always push yourself, always work. Went back in, did very, very well. Actually became a commissioned officer. So I went from being thrown out of the military at one point in my career to now I'm becoming a commissioned officer in the U.S. Army. And then I had a medical issue. I have Crohn's disease. A lot of people, if you don't know that, Crohn's disease is very debilitating. I had a very severe case of it. I still have it. It never goes away. You can't get rid of it. And I got medically discharged from the military. So it's tough. It's tough when things are going well. And then God kind of kicks the legs out from under you. Because I remember sitting on the gurney there at Martin Army Hospital there in Fort Benning, Georgia. Everything's going great. I'm doing well. I'm doing everything I believe I need to do. This is what, God, this is where you have me, right? Why are you doing this to me? That's not the right way to think. That's what I was thinking. But it wasn't that. It was just adversity. I had to deal with it because I didn't know what was coming down the road. He did, but I didn't. She said, get through it, because you're going to have more struggles to come. If you can overcome this, you can overcome what's coming for you down the line. Went in the military, got out of the military, got myself better. Actually, I did. I got much better. Then I got a call from a company called Blackwater Security in 2004. May have heard of it. They said, you want to go to Iraq and be a contractor? And to be quite honest, I said this exactly on the phone. I said, guys, I'm not an HVAC tech. I don't do plumbing. I don't build houses. I don't know what you're talking about. They said, no, we want you to go do what you were doing as a Ranger. You're doing it as a private citizen. And I went to Iraq. And for the next 9 years, I worked in Baghdad. I say worked. I fought in Baghdad. I fought in Mosul. I worked in Anbar. I worked down in Lashkar. I did work up in Kurdistan. I fought pirates off the coast of Somalia. After Captain Phillips got attacked, I was one of the first 6 guys on ships that were running through the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden and the Arabian Peninsula. And that actually was pretty cool. I felt like Captain Jack Sparrow out there. It was. I saw a lot of life. I did. I got to see the first time little girls went to school in Kabul, because I worked in Kabul quite a few years too, when we kicked the Taliban's butt out of there. That was awesome. But then I also made a bad call in the Mansour district when I was running a security team and a little girl died, and it was my fault. You have to go through some of those things. That's war. But you deal with it. How do you deal with it? Persevere. And I swore I'd never make that kind of call again. I'd learn from it. Well, so when Benghazi happened, I was pretty salty. 9/11, 2012 happened. We were ready. We had a wonderful team, and I don't think that was a coincidence that we had that team there. We had myself, Tyrone Woods, who died that night. He was former SEAL Team 6, who was DevGru. We had Jack Silva, who was SEAL Team 5. We had 2 Marines, Mark Osgeist, John Tig Tigan, who you saw, and then we had my buddy Boone, Dave Boone Benton, who was a Marine as well. State Platoon, surveillance, target, and acquisition. He was a sniper. And that team was supposed to be there because 3 of us were supposed to go home early. We were supposed to be home. I was one of them. Some of y'all have met my son, Christian. Some of you have gone to school with Christian. Christian was 6 at the time. My daughter, Adeline, some of you have met her. She goes to CLC. She's 17 now. She was 3 at the time. I hadn't seen them at all for their entire lives, maybe half, if that. I just wanted to go home. But something said, hey, you need to stay. And so I stayed. Tyrone stayed as well. He died that night, but he needed to stay because he was our leader. Boone stayed as well. So when we got the call on 9/11, 2012 in Benghazi, Libya, I remember hearing the call come across our radio. Now, we were what you call GRS, Global Response Staff. We worked for the CIA. We're their security element, paramilitary element. We got a call on the radio, and it said, GRS needs you in the team room. And I remember first thing Boone did is he got up and he said, Tano, what'd you do now? Now, if you've seen the movie, if you watched the movie, like I said, Pablo played me perfect. I am so much disrespect for authority. I love Jesus, but I cuss sometimes, guys. That's just me. I am that guy that pisses people off because I push buttons. And the CIA staffers, the government, they don't like some guy like me saying, you guys are doing it wrong. But I love doing it because they were half the time. You're doing it wrong. But Boone said, hey, Tano, what'd you do now? Because that would generally get us all in trouble. It'd be mass punishment for everybody, not just me, which I enjoyed too because I loved seeing Marines cry and SEALs cry. Why'd you do that, Tano? That's Rangers, always getting people into trouble. I said, buddy, I haven't done anything. I've been a saint all day. I just want to go home, man. I want to go see my kids. I want to go see my wife, Tanya. 30 seconds later, though, we do get a Morgent call on the radio. And I want you to imagine you're on the phone. And I want you to imagine you get a call on the phone. Or those that have served, you get that call on the radio. Or if you're first responders, if you're a police officer, you're with the fire department. It's not what they say. It's just that tone of voice that you know something is wrong and it's dangerously wrong. And that was the call. It was from our GRS team leader. And he said, GRS, we need you in the team room now. And I always smile at this point because that's what I did that night. I smiled because it's like, yes, I get to go combat. This is what I trained for. Yes, it's game time. And we're smiling. I am. Boone's smiling too. And I look right at him as he's getting his gear and I'm getting my gear, all of our Gucci gear, all of our combat gear that we got to get, our body armor and all that other stuff. He's getting his stuff too, and he's smiling. And I look at him and I say just that. I said, dude, we could do something fun tonight. And I love this guy. Been with him for 10 years. It's love. That's why we actually serve a lot of it. It's patriotism. It is. It's a lot of it. But a lot of it's just love. It's love for each other. It's John 15:13, to be honest with you. That's what it is. Well, we head out, and I remember seeing that team of leaders do, and everybody's doing what leaders do at that point in their careers and do when there's duress and stressful situations. Shut up and do your job. And that's what everybody's doing. We all have our tasks. We all have our different things that we need to be doing, and we're just doing what we need to do. And it reminded me of a symphony. I know it seems weird as a ranger up here listens to Mozart and Beethoven. I do. I love that. It calms me. And that's what it reminded me of. I'm watching this team of leaders. Roan's going to do what he needs to do, his task. Boone is doing what he needs to do. John is doing what he needs to do. That's Tig. I'm watching Jack do what he needs to do. We're all got our different tasks, and we're coming together, and it's like notes. It's just beautiful. And I remember thanking God right at that point. I'm like, man, thank you for putting me here. Well, we're ready to go. 5 minutes, we're ready to head out the gate. Now, in the distance, we can see the U.S. consulate. The U.S. consulate's taking heavy fire. We're watching bullets go up in the sky. They're called tracers. This being rural America, and we love guns here, I don't really have to explain what a tracer is. To some of the East Coast places, I have to explain what a tracer is, but I'll say it anyway. A tracer is a bullet that burns. It's what our enemy used to use because they didn't have the advantage of night vision that we do. That bullet that burns, it doesn't always fragment. Sometimes it'll hit and go straight up in the air, just go, and it's gorgeous. It's beautiful. And I'm watching these tracers go up in the air. I'm hearing the gunfire now that I thought was sporadic. It's more focused, so I know they're being attacked. And I'm hearing the State Department officers that is with Ambassador Kris Stevens. They're over about 3/4 of a mile away from us at that U.S. consulate, and they're screaming at us, GRS, that's us. GRS, where are you? GRS, we need you. GRS, you need to get here now. We're going to die. GRS, they're overrunning the compound, and we can't go anywhere. It's hard. It's hard to sit there and wait and watch your brothers die. But we haven't been given the go yet. So what do? Well, you don't let panic and you don't let anger take over. That does nothing for you. Anger does nothing but cloud your memory, cloud your judgment. It makes you make bad decisions, so you have to stay calm. And that's the beauty of special operations. That's the beauty of MARSOC, Ranger Battalion, PJs, combat controllers, SEAL teams, Delta, long tabbers, the ODAs. They teach us how to deal with that stress. How do you deal with it? You war game. Think in your head. So as I'm sitting there watching my brothers get decimated, watching the firefight, me not being able to do anything, instead of losing my mind and getting angry, all I'm thinking in my head is, okay, if we get mortared here, what am I going to do? Okay, got it. If we get out this gate and we get in a car wreck, what do I do? Okay, got it. We call keeping the initiative. You're just in your head, you're going through scenarios and you're with positive outcomes. So if it happens, you're successful. At least you've upped your chances for success. And it keeps that adrenaline that's just building up and that anger that's building up, it keeps us in check. And I remember that. So as that 5 turns to 10, 10 turns to 15 minutes that we're waiting, and then all of a sudden I start hearing that's not good. That's no bueno. That's a dish gun. That's a 50 cal machine gun. That slower rate of fire means that this basically is a suicide mission now. Not that it wasn't before, but we're still going. At the 25-minute mark, I hear Alec Henderson, who is the State Department security officer. He's barricaded himself in what they call their tactical operations center. He's watching his team basically get decimated on CCTVs, on the camera TVs. He says, GRS, if you don't get here, we're all going to effing die. It's just like the movie, exactly. And I saw one of the coolest things still to this day I've ever seen. Those Dev Group guys get big. Those SEALs get big. And Tyrone was no exception. Tyrone was huge. He looked like Leonidas from the movie 300. He's a monster. Arm was like this. He cracked his door because we have armored cars. Can't roll down the windows. He cracks his door and he just goes, I see his hand go up like this. And it's like a shock of pure energy just comes through me and my spine. And I'm like, man, I get to go to combat with Leonidas. How awesome is this? Thank you. And we start to head out the door. And as we're heading out the door, heading out our gate, we're driving. I'm driving the SUV. They're driving their sedan up front. I remember thinking to myself, because I'm wargaming in my head, I'm still thinking, I'm trying to stay positive. Got to stay ahead of the game, 3 steps ahead. War is like a chess game. When the firing starts, you should already have won that fight, just with your head. You don't want to be behind the power curve. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, we're still forgetting something. We need Henry. We call him Amal in the movie. If you've seen 13 Hours, he looks pretty capable in the movie. He's about 40, looks like he's in shape. He didn't look like that in real life. He looked like Bob Newhart, like from the, he did. And for you kids, get with your older folk. They'll show you what Bob Newhart is, all right? He did. Droopy cheese glasses. He was adorable. I did. I broke up with him when we had to leave Benghazi because I love that little guy. Just so adorable. But we need him. I'm trying to reach him on a radio. We need you. We need you. We need you. Can't raise him. I'm getting frustrated again because now we're wasting more time. Have faith, y'all. Always have faith. It's amazing if you have faith that increases your luck. It always does. It's amazing how that works. I have faith I'm going to find him. I can't reach him on our radio, so I'm going to have to get out of our cars. I say, stop the cars. I need to find Henry. As I get out of our car, I'm coming around the front of the hood, and he's right there. And I went, thank you. I did. Thank you. I said, man, we need you, bud. Little Bob Newhart doesn't go to combat. He doesn't know how to fight in war. He looks at me, and he has the deer in the headlights look, what you would think, because he's crapping his drawers. I go, buddy, we need you, man. We don't speak Arabic well enough. I've been in these incidents before. We're going to have a blue-on-green incident, which means a firefight with a friendly force, and good guys are going to die because of a language barrier. I said, I've been through this, man. I need you. He looks at me, and he says, Tano, I'm not a combat terp. I'm not weapons qualified. And he wasn't. I had a Glock 19 on my hip. I handed it to him. I said, Yarn, I'll go get your stuff. And he took my Glock 19. He ran back into building C, which was about where those doors were from where I'm standing, that distance. And as he runs back there, Boone had gotten out of the car, and he's leaning on the hood going like this, looking at me, going, smirking, you know. And I'm looking at Boone, and I'm going, I just lost my pistol, didn't I? He ain't coming back, is he? But 30 seconds later, though, we do see little Bob Newhart running out, and he doesn't have the cool Gucci form-fitting gear that we have. You know, we've got the cool low-pro carriers, all the cool body armor, all the cool tactical gear. He's got a flak jacket that's on to about right here. His helmet was so big, I swear it was on backwards. And he's running, and he's not weapons qualified, so I remember, where's his finger? It's in the trigger well. He's running straight at me, so how's he running? So I'm saying I am, and it's okay to laugh because wars, it's funny. There are so many things that are funny because laughter is the best medicine. That's how you get out of it, and you get your head right. And I'm sitting there ducking and dodging going, you are so adorable, Bob Newhart. Get in my car. And as I put him in the back of my car, I took his finger out of the trigger well. I pointed the weapon system down. I thought to myself, this is the bravest man that we have here tonight. You don't have to be a SEAL or Ranger, police officer, firefighter. You don't have to be any of that to be brave. That's not what bravery is. Bravery is willing to give of yourself. Sacrifice yourself, selfless service. That is bravery. And he has no business come with us, no training, and he's getting in the car. That's bravery, courage. We drive out. Long story short, guys, we try to get down to the front of the compound. I have respect for ISIS. I have respect for Ansar Sharia, Al-Qaeda in the Maghreb, the Taliban. I have respect for all of them because they do what we do. They try to learn from us, and they use our tactics, and they did exactly what we would have done. They locked down the roads that we could have drove down with fire. They were putting fire down these roads so that we could get to the consulate to slow us down. And how do I know that? Because as soon as we got to a road called Gunfighter, on a road called Gunfighter, we're supposed to make a right down this alleyway, and here's the front of the consulate. As we hit this wall right here, there's a bunch of locals, and they're not shooting at us, so we're assuming they're friendlies. That's how you know. They don't wear uniforms. If they're shooting at you, they're bad guys. If they're not shooting at you, then they're friendlies. They're shooting down the road. There's a couple local Libyans, and they're shooting away from us. We get out of the cars. As I start to get to this wall, I start hearing snaps and cracks going by my head. And then every once in a while you hear, vzz, and then you'll hear a smack on the back of the wall. It's a block wall that's behind us. Well, what those snaps are, and those little whizzes every once in a while, it's a bigger round. It's when high velocity rounds goes by your head, it breaks a sound barrier, and it sounds like a whip cracking. And I ain't gonna lie, it's freaking awesome. It is. And I see a team of leaders do what leaders at that point. They get up and they start to engage, and they do their jobs. They shut up and do their jobs. And I'm watching this team of leaders start to engage, and I'm seeing Tyrone start to engage with his rifle, and I'm seeing Tig start to engage. He has our 1-203 grenade launcher, and he puts we call a high explosive dual purpose round, a little golden egg, look like a big golden bullet. He puts in the breech, shuts it, and starts going thump. And we start taking out the heavy weapon systems. Boone comes to me and says, Tano, let's get high. So I grab what we called it a Mark 46. It's a machine gun. I grab my M4. I'm covered in magazines. I have a 200-round drum on this side and a little 100-round feeder bag we endearingly called a nutsack on the bottom of the Mark 46. And I remember I hit this first block wall. I got body armor on, my helmet, my night vision. Was wearing shorts that night. That was not movie magic. I got them in a storage area, the basement there on Jayhawk. I was also wearing a Mickey Mouse shirt that night too, but we couldn't put it in the movie because Mickey Mouse and Disney didn't want us shooting terrorists. I don't know. I went to Michael Bay, who was our director of the movie. You know, Michael Bay, Transformers, Armageddon, that was our director. I went to him and said, that's America, isn't it, Michael? Hot dogs, apple pie, Mickey Mouse shooting terrorists. Can't we just put it in? He's like, no, Disney doesn't want to see it. All right. But I remember as I'm jumping that first wall, because there's wall after wall after wall. When you work in these countries in the Middle East, North Africa, every yard has an 8-foot-high block wall behind it, so your neighbor doesn't annex your property. I hit that first one. I pulled myself up, and my muscles are screaming. I'm 42. I'm no spring chicken. I'm weighted down to bear. And I'm thinking, how am I going to do this? Because all I see is block wall, block wall, block wall, then this 4-story building that we need to climb up into to put fire down from, try to suppress the enemy from. And I thought back to Ranger School. I don't know why. I thought back to Mountain Phase or Ranger School. To me, that was the hardest phase. Mountain Phase in North Georgia, Dahlonega. The first thing you do when you get to Mountain Phase of Ranger School in North Georgia is you put a 50, 60, or 70-pound rucksack, whatever you got in there, and you run up a 5-mile mountain called Mount Yonah. It's a pass-fail exercise. And if you fall out or you fall behind the RI, you get kicked out. There's no do-overs. There's no try again. You're done. See ya. And I remember I wasn't ready. So I'm thinking back to this time in Ranger School, thinking about where this RI is yelling at me, a Ranger instructor, because I'm about ready to fall out. Now, this is the second time of me going through Rangers. There's no way I'm quitting. You never quit, ever. As this RI screaming at me, going, Ranger, you better get up that mountain or you're done. I shot up and I found a gear and I got up to the top of the mountain. I finished third, actually. So I come back to this 8-foot-high block wall. It didn't seem that high anymore. You've heard it. I know a lot of you older gentlemen and older ladies in this room, forgive me, have said this to your youngsters, that your body will quit before your mind. If you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you won't. It's God honest truth. I came back to that 8-foot-high block wall after imagining myself running up that 5-mile mountain with a 70-pound rucksack, and it didn't seem that high anymore. And my body didn't hurt the rest of the night. God has given us such wonderful gifts. It's this that allows us to either release those gifts or not. Now, I got tired, but I didn't hurt. And I just started going over wall after wall after wall after wall. Long story short, guys, we got in there. We fought into that 9-acre compound. We fought off Ansar Sharia. We tried to find the survivors if we could. We couldn't find everybody. And I remember as we're still trying to find the ambassador and Scott Wickland and trying to find Sean Smith, I remember I'm pulling security and I'm looking down this road and all I hear behind me is that SOB. He's screaming. Boone is screaming. That mother effer. That son of a... And it scares me because Boone doesn't get like that. And I look around and I go, Boone, what's going on, buddy? He goes, if you just would have let us leave on time. And I did. It's just like, now my heart just sank because I knew somebody died. And I said, dude, what's going on? He goes, we lost one, man. I go, who we lose? He goes, we lost that T guy. Lost Sean. Now, Marines are easy to get back in their headspace because they're warriors. All you got to do is just give them the knife hand. I just go, Marine. I just go, Sergeant. His eyes come back. Are you good? I'm good. He's back in the fight. That's all you got to do. I remember around the front of the compound, and I see Jack Silva over Sean's body. Jack is our secondary medic. He's our second 18 Delta. Rona is our first medic. Primary, he's secondary. Jack's doing chest compressions on Sean's body. I'm watching this from about this distance, and I'm watching Jack do chest compressions on Sean's body, and I'm thinking to myself, going, why is he doing that? He knows he's dead. He's dead. And then I look beyond Jack about a few meters farther, and I see Scott Wickland, who was with the ambassador. He's rocking back and forth going, he was just with me. He was just with me. He's going into shock. So as I'm watching Jack going, dude, stop doing chest compressions on dead body. That's what I'm thinking. Then I see him look up at Scott. Every 3 or 4 compressions, he's doing this, going 1, 2, 3. He goes to Scott. He goes, brother, we are still in this fight. I need you to stay in this fight. he is sacrificing, and he did. I still talk to Jack. His own mental state to get Scott out of his shock, to keep Scott in the fight. Now, there's only 6 of us, so what he's trying to do is that we've got a casualty, a dead body. If he goes into shock, our chances of survival are here. Now they've just gone down to nothing. And you see me smile because that's what I did that night. I'm looking at that, admiring it, going, how lucky am I to be with these guys, these warriors? And I did. I looked up in the sky again, and I went, thank you. Thank you for putting me here. You can find beauty and joy in anything if you accept the fact that God has put you in that moment at that moment in time and stop going, man, why did you do this to me? And I never did. I went, man, thank you, Lord. Thank you for putting me here. And then I see Tyrone, and Tyrone was Superman. He came out of nowhere, big Tyrone. He just, I don't know, he's like he swooped in from the sky and just puts his arms around around Scott Wickland, and goes, brother, we are still in this fight. We need you. And you see Scott Ice come back. He's out of his shock. Tyrone comes to me and Jack, says, guys, you got to go get all their classified information. They forgot it. So me and Jack run back to their tactical operations center. We're not allowed to carry thermite or incendiary grenades, or we just would have tossed grenades in there and burned all their classified information up. So we just started cutting wires. And as we're running back, I want you to imagine what we look like. And I said, laughter is the best medicine. It's okay to laugh. No problem at all. As we're running back, my morale is dropping. I'm about down to here. And as we're running back, Jack's looking at me, and we're carrying all this computer equipment. We're covered in black soot. We're running through all these burning buildings. We got guns all over us. Jack is Portuguese. I'm Mexican, so he's kind of Mexican. He's Mexican light a little bit. And as we're running, holding all this computer equipment, we look like a couple of looters is what we look like. And he sees my morale dropping. I'm at vapors. I'm losing it. My energy is gone. Hopelessness is starting to creep in. And as we're running, he looks at me and he goes, even though I have a southern drawl, when he wants to make fun of me, I speak like Cheech Marin. He looks at me and he goes, hey man, doesn't look like we just robbed the Best Buy, and I about fell over laughing. It's okay. Laughter is the best medicine, even if it's not politically correct at times. We throw the classified information in the back of the SUV. We get in. We drive back. We did get in one more firefight there at that U.S. consulate. Massive firefight. Watch the movie. Watch 13 Hours. They did it excellent. The one thing I can point out of there is I didn't have a block wall that I got thrown behind when that first RPG hit. And I remember taking a knee, and all of a sudden I heard a boom in the distance. That's an RPG. RPGs in the movies, you'll see them have vapor trails, and they go, shh. They don't. They are fast. And I heard a boom in the distance because that's what makes it go. And then I was just thinking, because if you hear that boom in the distance, all you're thinking to yourself is, please, God, let me hear that second boom, because then you know you're alive. If you don't hear it, you're probably dead. And I'm not going to lie, I was at pucker factor 10. It's like clenching hard as I could, and I did hear that first boom. And then I heard that second boom. And this one, I caught the overpressure. I do catch a little bit of the debris from the building. I was here to hit here, luckily for me. So all the shrapnel went that way, and it knocked me on the middle of the road, and I just started shooting. As I'm shooting, I'm in the open. I'm taking a knee. When Rangers get shot at, we are taught to shoot back. That's what we do. And I'm shooting through this wall that's open, or this door, in our back of the wall. I had about this much cover is what you see on stage. Nothing covered me. And I know my guardian angel is sitting up there with God, looking down at me going, see what you gave me with this idiot? He's not even taking any cover. He's not looking for anything. You've made my job impossible. I always believe that every one of us gets one in life, at least one, and that was mine. And I felt the golden cocoon come over the top of me. It's God. He goes, I got you, man. I got you. I felt warm and I felt protected, and all these bullets are snapping by my head, and I knew I was going to get hit. My right eardrum blows out, and I look to my right, and there's this little Libyan that took a knee next to me. He's shooting next to me. His muzzle's right there. It's AK-47. And all I can think in my head is, ain't this the damnedest thing? God just gave me a little Libyan angel and put him right next to me. I never saw that little Libyan again either. But we fought him off. And then we have to make a decision, and we made the decision to get back to our annex. Part of the fifth stanza of the Ranger Creed, though, is you never leave a fallen comrade to fall in the hands of the enemy. But we did. We left the ambassador. And that bothers me every day of my life. But it was the right decision. Because if we wouldn't have left, we would have lost 26 of our CIA annex people because they were going to get overrun. Leaders, you have to make hard decisions. You have to. And sometimes those decisions are the right decisions, but they still will haunt you forever, and that one will. But it was the right decision. When we get back to the annex, we're getting in one firefight first at the annex at 1 a.m., and I'm not going to lie, we tore them up. We destroyed them. Ansar Sharia and Al-Qaeda in the Maghreb. And when you're watching and you're getting in firefights with night vision, it's very haunting. It's like you're fighting ghosts, but it is freaking amazing. Because you're seeing these laser light show that you will never see at any techno dance or rave or whatever the clubs they got going on. I'm probably dating myself now, but it is beautiful. Between 1 and 3 a.m., though, that's between the first firefight and the second firefight at our place, that's when we realized nobody's coming. Because every few minutes, Boone is coming to me going, Delta's on its way, bud. No, they're not coming. Because Boone's up on the rooftop with me. Then he walks over to me a few minutes later. He goes, 10 Special Forces Group, they're on their way. No, they're not coming. 555th Fighter Wing from Aviano, they're on their way. No, they're not coming. Sigonella, the Spectre we got in Sigonella, the Fast Company of Marines in the Med, they're coming. No, they're not. We put a reference to pizza in the movie because the last time he walked to me, he goes, the SIF, buddy, they're on their way. And I stopped him. I said, dude, buddy, I don't want to know anymore. If it ain't Domino's Pizza, please don't tell me who's coming. You're breaking my heart. And I did think back to my wife and family. That was the one time. And it wasn't, oh my gosh, I'm going to die on this roof. Oh, I give up. This is awful. It wasn't that. It was, okay, did I tell Adeline I loved her when I got off the phone? Yes. Last words I said was I loved her. Did I tell my wife I loved her? Yes. Did I tell my son Christian I loved him? Yes. Out. They're out of my head. Time to focus on the job. Lesson learned there, never leave the house angry. Never get off the phone angry, ever. Always tell them you love them. 3 a.m., we get hit again, and it's watch the movie, guys, and I'm running short on time, so I'm not going to get into it. I get on an hour on every firefight. But if you watch the movie, they did an excellent job, and it reminded me of us being a retaining wall and the terrorists being a storm surge, and they just kept hitting us, and we just kept fighting them off. And we beat them, and we won that fight. At 5 a.m., we get word that Bub's team's coming in. Bub was a lot funnier than what we portrayed him in the movie. But Bub's on the radio. Bub was SEAL Team 3. He's coming in from Tripoli with 3 other GRS guys, 2 Delta Force guys, and as they're moving on us, he's on the radio calling us because they don't know where we live, and they flew in from another city. They've never been in Benghazi, and they're like, can somebody vector us in? I said, Bub, get your night vision on. I'm going to lasso the front gate. So I turn my, what we call an app peel. It's an infrared laser on my M4. I turn it on, and I see us going. I can see it, and you can see that thing in the sky for miles. It's an infrared laser. And I go like this. I said, Bub, do you see my lasso? He goes, Roger that. I see it. And then I come down and I sparkle the front gate. He can't see me sparkle, but he can see it come down. He goes, we know where you're at. We know where you're at. We're coming in. And as they're coming in, I said, man, I got to tell a joke. I got to tell a joke. Something funny. Because I'm Tonto. I got to tell a joke. Take a bite of Snickers. In that commercial, the Snickers commercial, where you're angry Rosie O'Donnell and you take a bite and you're back to yourself, it actually is very accurate. It is. And I took a bite, I went, put my infrared laser down, turned it off, got my radio, I went, break. I said, Bub, you know where we're at, right? You're coming in, correct? He goes, Roger that. I go, break. And I'm just telling this joke. It's not funny. They put it in the movie, but I'm going to tell you anyway. God will forgive me later. I said, guys, I don't know if this is an awkward time to tell you this, but I've had to take a crap since we left the consulate. It is not funny. But the only reason I said it is from midnight to about 5:30, I was crowning that whole freaking time. Why'd I tell you that? Well, I'm kind of classless. As those that you get to know me in town, you'll understand that. But self-deprecating humor is something that we have lost. God gave us that gift to make fun of ourselves, to pick others up. And I learned that from Ranger Battalion. I learned that from my 1st Battalion commander. His name was Lieutenant Colonel Stanley McChrystal. You may have heard of him. He was a SecDef, 3-star general, one of the greatest Rangers ever. And he would do it all the time. And we needed it. Because Bub came in, and as Bub came in, they come up on Building C, and as they come up on Building C, I see 4 guys up there, and I hear a shh, and as I heard that shh, it didn't sound like a mortar. But something in the back of my head said, that's a mortar. As they said that, I saw the first one hit. Boom, explodes. As I watched it explode, I see the world open up again. I look behind me, nobody's coming. As I turn around, I see another mortar hit. It goes boom, huge explosion. As I watch that explosion go, I see 4 guys, now 3. Dave Ubben just got hit with one of the 81 millimeters and it ripped his leg off and ripped his arm off. She can't quit. I turn around, nobody's coming. We're still getting attacked. As I put a few more rounds over their head, I see a boom, boom, boom. And I see a 3 81 millimeter mortars hit. I see my team of 3 that's left. As my night vision comes back because of the overabundance of light, I see pixie dust raining down. It's the debris that gets charged and heated after explosions. It looks like pixie dust in your night vision. And I see nobody. And I watch my team get turned to dust. And I put my head down. I thought to myself, we can't beat this. We don't have any air support. And then God said, get your gun up, Ranger. And my grandmother's voice, she had passed by that time, said, did you work hard enough, Iho? And I kept fighting, and we fought him off. You never give up. God didn't make us to give up, ever, in anything. You don't play the victim, you fight through it, you don't quit, and you win. And we fought him off. 7 a.m., we get word that there's a militia coming in, and as this militia's coming in, I get call on the radio from my CIA chief of base, Bob, and he's telling us, he's saying, Tonto, you've got the front gate. There's only 3 guns left. All I got is my little pea shooter, my LM4. And he says, Tonto, you got the front gate. This militia's coming in. Make sure they're friendlies. If they're not friendlies, you're going to have to fight them off. So roger that. I go, what do they look like, Chief? He goes, we don't know. I said, what color are their vehicles, Chief? We don't know that either, Tonto. Uniforms, insignias, anything. He goes, we don't know that either, Tonto. I said, roger that. Do I have communication with him? He goes, we don't have any communication. We just lost it. I said, Chief, you have been a plethora of effing information tonight. I really appreciate you. We didn't get along very well. But as I saw this militia coming, it was bad. 30 to 50 technicals. A technical is basically a Toyota Tacoma. It's a Hilux truck, is what we call it. It's a Tacoma with a machine gun or an aircraft gun in the back. And I see it coming. And I know this might be it. I'm time to meet my maker, but I'm not going to quit. I get as small as I can behind that parapet wall. And as they're moving towards me, I'm watching them. And I'm watching the guy in the front vehicle and the guy in the Dishka that's pointing right at my forehead, the 50 cal machine gun. And they're chewing cot. And cot is what they chew before they go into battle. It's basically Copenhagen mixed with cocaine and steroids, and it's an amphetamine that gets them all jacked up. Makes them feel invincible. And it looked like they were bottle fed with it, because at that distance, I could see that they had no teeth. And I went like this. And I went, oh my gosh, this is going to hurt. I'm thinking in my head. I threw what we call a jumbo. I learned that from the Sudanese. It's Swahili. It means good morning, but because of the internet, it's shaka now. It's be cool. And if I threw it up and I got it back, 9 times out of 10, they were friendly. And as I threw it up, the passenger in the front vehicle and the guy in the Dishka gunner both go like this. Now, my wife is beautiful. Adeline, my daughter, she's beautiful, got beautiful smiles. My little son, Colton, got a gorgeous smile. My son, Christian, when he smiles, has a gorgeous smile, too. But I'll be honest, to this day, I've never seen a smile as beautiful as that toothless, poopy-looking, cotton-filled grin in my life. And I got on the radio and I said, they're with us, they're with us. And we got out of there. Now, we did get left at the airport, but like I said, have faith. Because we waited there, and as that oil executive's jet took our injured off, Bub saved 2 lives. He gave of himself to save 2. I had faith we were going to get out of there, and a C-130 from the Libyan Air Force showed up and pulled us out. Have faith. It always increases your luck, y'all. And we came home, and some of y'all saw me on the news. Some of y'all saw me out there doing other things. I did go to Yemen and fight the Houthis for 6 more months. And now here I am standing on the stage to you today. Guys, why I tell this story is because I did. In 2017, guys, just FYI, I did try to kill myself. I put a gun in my head. I said, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm over. I can't do this. All the stuff I've seen, and then all the social media. The social media is the devil's hand, I tell you what. It's on that all the time. I was estranged from my wife, Tanya. And I looked in the mirror, and I thought to myself, okay, you had a hard life growing up. You got through it, and you did well. You got through the college with no chance at all except for a scholarship. You got it. You got kicked out of the military, then you went back in, and you did well there. You have this disease that you're never going to get rid of, and you got through that. And this is God telling me this. You've gone 10 years of fighting in this global war on terror, and you're fine. You have some scars, you have some mental, you're going to have them. And then you weren't what people consider the worst night of your life, and you're still here. And now you're going to let the devil win? And I put the gun down. I called Tanya. They were actually in Disney, ironically, and I said, can I come be with you guys around Christmas vacation? She said, she's a saint. She said, yes. Benghazi saved my life. I would have tried eventually to take my own life just for the other things I'd seen for 10 years and things I've done. But because of all that, God said, hey, this is for you, because this is what you're going to need when the devil comes knocking on your door. Benghazi has been a blessing since the day I left Libya in 2012. I just didn't see it till 2017. So what I'm trying to say is, guys, if you're going through hard times, especially right now, you see this, the world's all going crazy, and it's not. We make it worse than what it is. Now, God needs to become more in our lives, definitely. But what I'm saying is that if you're going through past that you need to get over, just overcome them. You kids in this room, and us kids endearingly, you youngsters, you young people in this room, you're supposed to go through hard times. It makes you harder and stronger. So when you get 53 and 54 and you have new hips and new knees and new things going on in your head because of the things you've seen and have to go get surgery next week to get your shoulder redone, you're like, you know what? I earned this. This is life. And this is what it needs to be. And this has just made me stronger. So overcome them and smile. And always just say, and I'm about done here, Dusty, I almost called you pastor. Always be thankful for those obstacles that God puts us through, those things that we have to persevere through, because all it does is make us stronger here, and stronger in faith. It does. Well, thank you so much for having me. Aaron, where you at? You guys can bench press a room. Thank you for having me. Thank you for letting me take some of your time. I know I took about 10 extra minutes. It means the world to me. God bless y'all. And if you see me around town, please just say hi. Say hi. And if you need me, I got you. Just 2130 Jayhawk. Come knock on my door. All right. Thank you all. Have a good rest of your morning.